Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a video discussing the drama in the beauty community. There are a ton of videos on this out there. I really just kind of want to dig a little bit deeper. What does this drama really mean? What is the bigger picture? And what can we do about it, if anything? So with that said, let's do this. This is just my thoughts coming out, and once I press stop record, I'm going to upload this onto my computer and then I'm going to edit it. And if I say anything particularly stupid or particularly controversial that I'm not fully comfortable putting out there, I'm going to delete it and you're never going to know that I said it. And I think a lot of the drama that keeps coming up really is that people, being internet users, are discovering things that people posted before they were so careful in terms of what they said. So I think most of us do I dare call myself part of the beauty community? I don't really think that I am, but in the larger sense, in the sense that I am a YouTube viewer. That's what I started off as. I've been watching beauty tutorials and videos and reviews and all of that kind of thing for 5 years, I would say, edging on 6, probably 6 years. I've been putting videos out myself for only 1, so I consider myself a viewer more so than a content creator. When I'm referring to the beauty community, I'm not just talking about mega influencers. I'm talking about people who are also content viewers and watching these videos and have a direct interest in beauty, all things makeup related, etc. We are probably all at least marginally aware of the most recent drama going on surrounding Laura Lee. Just in case you're not aware, the background of that is basically that she put out some tweets back in, I believe it was 2012, prior to her rise to YouTube stardom, and they were racist in nature. So they said some not flattering things and not kind things, and people found that. And so they've brought that to light, and in her, what am I doing? This is not the right brush. This is why I can't do two things at once. And in her apology video, she classified them as retweets, which they were not. They were things that she sat down at a keyboard and wrote and then posted. I think the first point that I want to address is not so much Laura Lee, and it's not other YouTubers who have had racist comments, racist tweets brought to light, use of the N-word, things like that. That is problematic, but that is problematic on the surface. We can see the tweets, we can see the videos, we can see the Snapchats, all of that kind of thing. What I want to sort of address in this is what underlines that, and that is sort of what I would consider to be casual racism amongst just people in general. Because a lot of the times when people have made these social media posts, it is in advance of their social media careers. So this is coming from a place of just general people writing general thoughts. And a lot of these people who are now apologizing for their use of these not good words, shall we say, are saying, I didn't know. I didn't know that it was problematic. I didn't know that it was going to be offensive. It wasn't really what I was feeling. It's just a word that I had heard, and so I used it. And I think that that speaks to a far larger issue than just beauty influencers. I think it speaks to the fact that I think we've come so far from the civil rights movement origins, like the days of that. That was well beyond my time. So that would have been, what, 1950s, 60s it was culminating. And it's still a struggle for people of color. I'm sitting here white as the day is long. I'm actually status Indian. I'm not Caucasian, but you would never know that to look at me. So I come from a place of white privilege, and don't think that I'm not fully grateful for everything that my life has afforded me. We need to keep the facts alive. We need to keep the history there. We can't rewrite the history to what is more convenient. We have to show it, the phrase I use is warts and all. So even the ugly bits of our history. And I'm Canadian, but I'm talking Canadian, I'm talking American, everywhere. Okay, to sum it up, because I'm just rambling, to sum it up, what I'm trying to say is, if it's true that 17, 18, 22, 25-year-olds aren't really cognizant of the fact that using the N-word is going to be widely abrasive and inflammatory and inappropriate, there's a bigger problem. So if we're saying that we don't know that that word is a problem, that in and of itself is a problem. Because we need to remember the struggles that people of color have faced. We need to be aware of white privilege. We need to be aware that that is still alive and kicking. We need to still be aware that although, yes, we have equal rights, there's no longer segregated schools, segregated buses, and nothing like, there's no slavery, none of these atrocities that we have risen from, they still existed. And there is still imbalance, and there is still racial profiling, and there is still racism. And if we can put out these tweets and then later on say, well, I didn't know, that's not good enough. Suffice it to say, if people are saying that they don't know that the N-word is inappropriate, there is a larger cultural issue, and it goes well beyond just the beauty community. And I think that that should be a call to arms for all of us, simply as humans on this earth. What I will say, though, to put a positive spin on this, is that I am very pleased to see that there is public outcry from these tweets arising. Sorry, Laura, that you've lost 500,000 subscribers in the last few weeks, but the larger picture for me from that is that 500,000 people are offended by a white person's use of the N-word. And I think that, frankly, is awesome. Another thing that I think this recent rash of videos regarding influencers versus brands, etc., has kind of brought to light is just how much competition there is amongst beauty influencers, and particularly the high-end ones, so the ones with a massive fan base and that have the most influence. But there's been a whole whack of them, everybody saying my truth and then putting it out there. And I'm finding even within those videos, some of them, not all, some of them still appear to be competing. And now it's almost like negative competition in terms of saying, because Marlena threw out the number 60,000 for a video. And now we're having videos showing up saying, that's the low end, and I've never accepted that much. I work for much less. And also at the same time talking about people who earn more than that. So there's still this competition in there. But all I really want to say is, this is a huge industry. I can't even name how many brands there are. There are the major brands, then there's the indie brands, and everybody's doing their own thing. And same with beauty channels. There have got to be thousands upon thousands of people who are passionate about makeup, who sit down and speak to a camera about their passion and about the products that they enjoy and the products they don't enjoy and why they don't enjoy them, and sharing their talent with others. And that doesn't take away from anybody else. I don't know why we can't all support each other. Just because, say, you might subscribe to me doesn't mean that now it's exclusive and you cannot subscribe to anybody else. We're not dating. This is just, it's like watching TV. if you have the full cable package, you've got access to hundreds of channels. You don't have to pick just one. And just because you watch the History Channel one day doesn't mean you can't watch, I don't know, the fucking NASCAR channel the next day. It doesn't detract from each other. It's just such a bizarre concept that people are so competitive with each other in an industry that definitely has room for multitudes of people. We all bring something different to it. Just jack that eyebrow up. So I think the whole point that I'm trying to say with this is I just wish people would just calm down a little. It's not a competition. And I think where it stems from is a desire for money and trying to outdo each other just for the sake of getting brand deals and getting the money and getting the sponsorships and the trips and the this and the that. And that's kind of sad, to be honest, because I'm gonna guess that pretty much everybody that has made it as a beauty influencer started off from a point of passion, started off from just a plain old love of makeup. And most of them will talk about that, how they were 6 years old playing with their mother's makeup or whatever the case is. And so it all stems from somewhere, and somewhere along the line it gets warped. And it becomes this insidious need to outdo each other and be on top and make more and more and more money. And make the coin. I don't care, but at the end of the day, all I hope for people is that they don't lose themselves. And that's, I think, where the problem is arising, is that people's integrity has been compromised to such a degree that we as viewers are now picking up on it. We know so much about makeup now, and it's so easily accessible that we are informed viewers. So when somebody sits on a camera and completely bullshits to us for the sake of making money, we feel that, and it's insulting. And that's why people are losing subscribers, and that's why people aren't really watching big YouTubers as much as they used to be. Sure, they still have millions of subscribers, and I don't think that's going to change. But I think there are a lot of people who are now starting to realize that when I'm viewing these videos, it's like a paid commercial on TV. Like, it's biased. That's kind of the nature of the beast, and that's really sad, because I don't think it ever used to be that way. I miss the days when it was genuine reviews and genuine favorites and genuine dislikes. And now to think when somebody says, yeah, well, I really don't like this foundation, that it might be because they're making an $80,000 paycheck for saying that, who knows what to believe anymore. I guess, like I said, I have not watched all of the videos that are floating around. I've watched little snippets here and there. And the one party, I guess, that people aren't really pointing the finger at, for lack of a better phrase, is us as viewers. And I think we do bear some of the responsibility for the way that YouTube has shaped itself. We are the ones fueling these particular fires. We are the ones subscribing onto these kind of channels. We are the ones that clickbait is working on, because we are clicking on the clickbait. That's why it exists, and that's why it's effective. And people get mad in comment sections when a thumbnail turns out to be clickbait, because they're disappointed that it's not more titillating than they thought it was going to be. Therein lies the problem. So I think that we bear some of the responsibility further, specific to beauty channels and the cosmetic and beauty industry. We, as viewers and consumers, are the ones avidly watching review videos and tutorials and viewing posts on Instagram and then instantly going out and buying these products that are mentioned by our favorite influencers. And I am not going to claim to not be guilty of that myself. I absolutely am. And I think the only way that we can change how the brands and how the industry is now utilizing influencers is for us to start thinking really critically about our purchases. So, I mean, the industry has discovered FOMO, and I think it was Tarte even named one of their lipstick shades FOMO. A little tongue-in-cheek, if you ask me. So what that is, if you're not familiar, although I imagine most people are, it's fear of missing out. So when we have limited edition releases, or you know, whenever the next new best thing comes out, everybody feels like they have to jump on it. And I am absolutely guilty of that myself, and I am trying to become much more aware of that, particularly aware of it of myself, that I can see a post and be like, I have to have it, I need it, it needs to be in my collection, in my life. No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. There is nothing on the market that is going to revolutionize my life, make my life easier, make my life better. It's makeup at the end of the day. It's purely want-based. I don't need any of the stuff that I have. I value it, I treasure it, I love it, I don't need it. It's not oxygen, it's not family, it's not shelter, it's not food. Bite beauty aside, potentially. So I really think that if we as consumers can all just take a collective breath and just really step back and think about what is it that we truly want in our collections, in our homes, in our lives. And is it really every new release that comes out? Is it really every shiny thing that moves in front of us? Or is it everything that XYZ person says we need? If you truly feel that way, go for it. But if you can just take that beat and really just think about it, I think we'd find that a lot of what is being recommended to us may not suit our own personal aesthetic or may not suit our own needs. They seem to be wanting to point fingers at each other, brands versus influencers, and really they do have a rather symbiotic relationship going on. It is mutually beneficial. Brands are paying influencers, call it $60,000 to $100,000 a video, and that just blows my damn mind. I cannot fathom that kind of money for a video. But I suppose when you look at it in the context of what would they pay for ad space during a primetime television show, it kind of makes sense. It is the more economical option, and if they're advertising through the middle of, I don't know, Criminal Minds, I don't know, it's just what I watch, they're hitting people that may not give two shits about makeup. Whereas when you're paying an influencer who has 5 million subscribers, then they are reaching a directed market who clearly at least has a baseline interest, A, in what that person has to say, and B, in makeup. So, where do I think YouTube is going to go, and where do I think influencing is headed? And I think there is going to be a larger market, if you will, for what they consider to be micro-influencers. And I don't really know the definition in terms of followers for micro-influencing, but call it somebody who has less than 1,000 subscribers. I don't know, that's just arbitrary on my part. But these are the channels that, largely speaking, are doing it out of passion. Largely speaking, it's not their job. They're not typically on the radar of other companies, and they're not getting paid to promote products. Now, there is a catch-22 in all of this. So when you are a smaller channel, people don't necessarily subscribe to you because they don't feel like you have credibility because your subscriber count is so small. And then when people start becoming successful and their subscriber count increases, people then start to question them, especially if they do start doing some sponsored videos. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think we just need to think critically for ourselves, and that's what I'm trying to say. Get past the personality of the person that you're watching, because that's what we subscribe to. We don't necessarily subscribe for information. We subscribe because we like the person. But we have to look beyond that, because now it's becoming more apparent than ever that the person may seem lovely and bubbly and friendly on camera, but behind the scenes, they may be telling you the information that has already been prescripted for them and paid. So the content may not be genuine. It may be, it may not be. And therein lies the danger. And that's why I think we need to take everything across the board, from smaller channels to larger channels, with a grain of salt, do our own research, and really think about the items that we want to put our money towards. That's the end of it for me. I hope that I have made some valid points. I hope that I've resonated with you guys in terms of what I've had to say. I would love to hear from you down in the comments. What are your thoughts on everything that's going on? Do you subscribe to larger channels? Do you still believe in the things that the larger influencers tell you? Are there particular ones that you would recommend? If you want to be on a bit more of a negative spin, is there anybody that you absolutely do not trust whatsoever? That's what the comment section is for. Let's have a discussion about it. I'm a small channel, so I don't think I have to say this, because every comment that I've ever had has been respectful, but let's be respectful in there. So if somebody posts something that you don't agree with, that doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong. It simply means that we disagree. So let's have a debate. Let's have a conversation down below. If you've disagreed with something I've said, let me know your opinion. That's what this is all about. These are just my thoughts coming from my point of view, my experiences in life, my age, my stage in life. Doesn't mean it's right. It just means this is what I'm thinking. This is what's contained in my head. So I would love to hear from you. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch this, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.